Welcome to Riverbend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
Another Thursday night in the Riverbend. Another sea shanty sing-along underway down at Morrison's Irish Pub. And another Riverbend Talent right here on 107.1 FM, the Big Z. Brought to you by Halpin Music Company. As Lydia, now our video producer, just announced. Of course, she was way younger then. But it's also brought by Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. And if you're up there in Jerseyville, it's German Insurance. What's going on tonight? Well, BC Homegrown down at Fast Eddie's from 6 to 10. Graham Cano underway at George's Pub and Grill until 9. Jared Lutz underway at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville until 9. Lefty Daytona doing the stagger in tonight. 7 to 10 according to Butch Moore. And I'm going with Butch because Butch knows. Also, Ryan Holting underway at the cabin at Judy Creek until 9 o'clock. Scott Marlin, 7 to 10 at Pavia's Place in Granite City. Also happening down at in Granite City at the Mill. They've started their Christmas at the Mill. And tonight, the legends, Bobby and Jimmy Rowlands, 6:30 to 8:30 down there. The guys from Beowulf. Jeremy Drake, 5:30 to 8:30. He's already underway up at the Prairie Inn in Dorsey. And seems like I flew past one of them. Oh, yeah, the Omega Music Open Jam. They do that sometimes down there at El Gato Tavern in Granite City. Don't always see a post on that, but possibly going on. And now the moment you've been waiting for. Do I have to do it every week?
No, no, you never have to do it.
That's
Matter
him.
of fact, we could go back in time and erase the times that you said it.
That's Lydia's dad. That's we're going to call you that from now on. Give her all the props.
That's all I'll be known as from here on out.
A.K.A. Pig Pin.
Piggius Pennius. Sir Piggius Pennius here.
A.K.A. Scrap. You've been called that a few times on here.
I've been called Opal the Hot Little...
A.K.A. Eddie.
Eddie Pantego, Eddie Pantuso. This guy's got a lot of names.
Yeah.
You got to have a lot of aliases.
What's your email? That's a different name, too.
I have...
Something...
Saul Pantego.
Saul Pantego.
Yes. Actually, officially, Salvatore Pantego, but you can call me Uncle Saul.
Okay.
I got way too many. You know, so this is something you might not know.
Okay.
When I first started on our sister station, 94.3, and Nick...
Why isn't it brother?
Our brother station, 94.3, and Nick, our boss, says, yeah, okay, and we make a deal. I said, hey, I want to go under the name Johnny Sunshine. And he said, what? Why would you want to do that? I'm like, I don't know, I need one more alias. Why not?
Well, you went with one of mine, Johnny.
Johnny, yeah. Well, see, so that's a weird piece of trivia there. Johnny Sunshine was Hugh Hefner's name before he was Dr. Johnny Fever in the very first episode of WKRP. See,
well,
nobody knows that but me.
My name came from Johnny Cash, but
Johnny
I never have any
Bash.
money, so but I do know how to party. So
Well.
Johnny Bash was the name I used at WLCA.
And
I actually did that to kind of hide that I was going to be in the band that I was playing all the time. I didn't know what to do. It was the first thing I'd ever done on
All right.
radio. And then I realized, you know what? You should do the flip-flop. Be the guy that's in the band.
and Johnny Bash was born.
Well,
and
I don't know if he was born. He
And
was
speaking of Johnny Cash, though, anyone who's never been to Nevada, I've been to Reno, and now I know why Johnny Cash shot a man just to watch him die. Those people suck. No, I'm just kidding.
Quite honestly, I chose Johnny because it's in all the rock and roll songs.
Johnny Be Good?
I was a schoolboy
Yeah.
before I heard my first Beatles song.
Johnny was a schoolboy.
And the B and Johnny Be Good, that's Bash. I don't know if people know.
Johnny Bash Good. of rock and roll history being made right here in the River Bend. Once
Yeah,
again.
speaking of that song, that's where rock and roll was created, right here in the River Bend. We'll get into that story many times over all the videos we've done over the last 10 years, so go back and check them all out.
See, I believe we are both obsessed with this idea because no matter who we're talking to, somehow it always leads back to, rock and roll was invented right between Washington Park and all. No.
Well, I was going to use it as a segue tonight. Go back and check out the videos because our guest tonight has went back and checked out some of our videos. So, Kerry Lee, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Oh, we got him on there.
Yeah, he's going to have to do what we always teach.
Lean on into that microphone.
Oh, yep.
Or pull it towards
I got you.
Yeah. Now you're on.
All right.
Welcome to the show, Kerry.
Yeah, thank you for
we are
having me.
just now meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
So the next hour is going to be like two canines sniffing each other's derrieres, and we will get to know. That's how dogs get to know each other. So
Well, hopefully I don't stink too bad.
No. So far
Ooh,
everything's
Kerry
great.
Lee coming on strong.
Oh,
I've been dying to use that one all day.
Yeah.
Kerry Lee coming on strong. You used that on me this morning.
I know. Been holding out. I mean,
That's a
couldn't
great
wait.
one.
I said it to him when he came in.
Oh, yeah.
And all I can say, hearing that you've checked out the videos, is I'm sorry. Whatever I said that offended you, whatever I did, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So let's start off by finding out, are you playing this weekend?
So, yeah, I am playing this week, and I'm going to be in Hillsboro, Illinois. I'm going to be at the Courthouse Pub. It's going to be one of my friends' birthday, Connie Childers. She's going to be her birthday bash. It's going to be 9 to midnight.
Who's having a birthday?
Connie Childers. Sorry, Connie Childers.
Niece of Tyler Childers. No, I'm making that up. Anyway.
No, she's going to be having a birthday.
Which day
this
was
weekend. Oh, this Friday, actually.
Friday. Tomorrow.
So, yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big bash.
So
I haven't heard of that place in Hillsboro.
what was the name of it again?
It's called Courthouse Pub.
Okay.
She runs the place, so it's going to be her birthday.
Okay.
It's going to be a great time.
So, like, we avoid courthouses normally.
It's literally on the square where the courthouse is.
So
yeah.
what first thing that came to my mind is like, oh man, if you was going to open up a bar, say in Edwardsville, right by the courthouse,
Right.
that is a great name because then, like all the lawyers are like, yeah, honey, just still here at the courthouse. Yeah, I'll be home later.
Perfect.
And,
I think there's a place up in what was I? I want to say Pana. Look real close to that. It's called The Office.
Yeah. There's one in Effingham called The Office, Effingham, Illinois. Then there's a Almost Home up in Jerseyville. Where you at, honey? Oh, I'm almost home.
Wasn't that place that was a bank at one time?
The
called
Vault.
The
The
Vault.
Vault.
That was the
Okay.
Vault.
I
Yeah, the
played
Vault.
there before. Yeah.
So I got invited to the Vault once by a good friend, and it was the band was great and everything, but I'm going to tell you that particular night, it did not smell good. There was the smell of sewer and it was so strong. I looked at people eating going, how are you eating? And oddly enough, the farther that I moved away from the restroom, the stronger the smell. God, I hope it's not like that always now. Is that place still open even?
I haven't been there in forever and ever.
I was gonna say I don't think it's open anymore, but it was a cool idea. But
So is that the only show you got this
Oh
weekend?
no, I do have one more. There's up in Pawnee, Illinois. I'm going to be at Locals, and that's my debut show there. I've never played there before till
nice.
So that's going to be a good one. That's going to be 8 p.m. till 11 p.m. And hopefully it'll be one of those callback shows, and I'll be there quite a bit, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get some northern shows because I live in Benelt. So, like, I'm right smack dab in the middle between Springfield and St. Louis and Grafton. So, like, I'm smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, I know. We know exactly
yeah.
where Beneld is. Coliseum Ballroom,
Oh, yep.
legendary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've seen his name quite a few times in Grafton.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So here's what I'm going to tell you about Kerry Lee that I know right now.
Well, I'm glad you did some research because I've been apologizing.
See, here's the thing. I didn't do any research. What I'm about to tell you is just me. Come on, you know me. I don't learn lessons. I don't. So here's what I know about Kerry Lee. 3-4 weeks ago, Dennis says to me, "Hey, the country music festival's happening in Grafton. Okay. And I start looking at it, and I see this name, Kerry Lee. I'm like, okay, it'd be nice to get someone we have never had before, because we've had the Lonesome Drifters were on last week. He's old friends of the show. Several of those bands we've had. And I thought, ooh, it's fresh meat, right? Fresh blood. and I booked Kerry Lee, and it just so happened to be the same week Tommy Carlos was going to be in town. And I called Kerry back, and I said, I'm sorry, man. He was so nice about it. He said, hey, I don't care. I'll come in whenever.
Yeah.
So at this point, for the first time, that tiniest bit of journalism that's in me fired up, and I went, oh, I'm going to look into this guy. Like, because what attracted me to your name, out of the list of people playing the country music festival, because that's a lot. It said you write original music. Somewhere I read that. Whether it's true or not, we'll get into that.
Yeah, I do write some. I haven't recorded any.
Well, we'll get into that here. But it said somewhere I read the blurb I read said that you write music and play covers. I went, I love people. We love that. And when I looked him up, he plays constantly.
Yep.
The reason that his name is not burned into my head the way some of these other names are, that 10 years we've been doing this show, reading this list, he doesn't always play locally.
All right.
He's not.
Well, he's from Benell, so it's local to him.
He travels more. He's we'll call him regional.
Yeah.
He moves and shakes a little bit. But
you kind of have to if you're from Benell.
Well, this is true.
You're not wrong.
This is true.
I've been there. It's where Cottonmouth's origins are.
Yeah, the twins.
That's right.
Eric
and Aaron.
Eric and Aaron. Yeah, I almost
Rest in
messed that
peace,
up.
Eric.
Yeah, that's
right.
What was their last name? Aaron
Roberts.
Aaron and Eric Roberts.
I think their dad was a jailer.
Yeah, I think so too. Because when I first met him in college, that was enough to make me not want to go to their house. I'm like, he's just going to take me to jail.
But we read Kerry Lee's name quite a bit. And one thing I remember about the Country Music Festival is that I think Kerry Lee was the only guy playing twice that weekend.
Yes,
yeah.
That was one of the funnest times I've
had.
had.
Lean into the mic a little bit there.
Sorry.
That's
that was
right.
one of the funnest times I had. And it was supposed to be 1 to 5, and then it actually turned into 12 to 5. And then I ended up playing, it was supposed to be Bloody Bucket for the second show. The first show was at Third Shoot. The second show was at Bloody Bucket. And it was originally supposed to be 7 to 10. It ended up being 7 to midnight. So I actually ended up playing 10 hours that day.
Oh,
nice.
And I'll tell you one thing. I sounded like Froggy from the Little Rascals after that. But it was a great time. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So you did a 5-hour show at Third Shoot. What time did that start?
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, and it went to 5 p.m. And then you went to Bloody Bucket Saloon and did 7
to midnight. My fingers were on fire, too.
I've got blisters on my fingers.
Yes, I had blisters on my fingers. Oh,
he does Beatles.
Dude.
Yeah, I do some Beatles.
Okay, 10 hours. Now you've changed venues, so we can play Wild Thing twice, right? No,
yeah. That's the best part about it. I just tore my whole list over.
So did you? That's what I was wondering. Did you do the same 5-hour show twice?
Not fully, because like on Third Shoot there was a bridal shower. They I knew, even though it was a country music festival, they had me play Pink Pony Club. Not gonna lie. So I play for the people. So I mean, if they want me to do something else other than what I normally do, I do it.
So if I scream Billy Joel,
oh yeah,
awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
If I scream
I
Brenda
don't start
Lee,
the fire, but it's all good.
if I scream Brenda Lee,
I got something for you.
okay. If I scream Golden Earring,
I don't have anything on that one.
Hubcap Diamond Star Halo.
so I just had to do that again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. So Kerry Lee. Now we're gonna dive into Kerry Lee. We're gonna get to know.
Deep.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
Put him on the table.
prepare for some serious therapy.
All right.
So
all right.
born
For
in
me.
Benell.
My therapy is the playing out music. So it's all
Okay.
That, you know what? It
really
is the great therapy, because it's like a book is or a movie. It's an escape from the world.
It is.
You're not.
100%.
Yeah, I've told the story a few times, but you've never heard it. So I got my wife thumping out a little bass.
He might have. You went and watched the video.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Years ago, I got my wife thumping out a little bass, just taught her like root notes, how songs work. And one day we got a little studio behind her house, and we're playing some music, and she stops and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I just realized you're not just hiding from me and the kids out here. You're hiding from work, from the bills, from everything in the world." And I'm like, yeah. This is the truth of it, man. It is the great escape and therapy. But let's get let's get into this here.
Were you born in Benilde?
No, I wasn't. I was actually born in Granite City.
Oh,
wow.
So, yeah.
A lot of Granite City folks have sat in those chairs.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we have quite a few Granite City transplants in our city that are pretty big in the music scene. Jared, that owns Music Exchange,
The
Billy
biggest
Nelson.
guest we ever had.
The
is
biggest
from
guest we've
Granite
ever had
City.
is from Granite City, Miss Bonnie Bramlett. I'm just rock and roll legend there. A lot of times our conversation leads back to her too, because all roads in rock and roll lead back to Bonnie if you follow them enough.
Yeah.
And I guarantee in this conversation, if we want to, before it's over, we could go straight there real quick. We'll see it. We'll see what happens.
We'll give Kerry the floor here. So you were born in Granite. How long were you there? And
I wasn't there too long. I'm
Okay.
gonna be honest with you. I was only there for maybe 3 years, I imagine. Then we ended up moving up to Mount Olive, then moving to a place called Kings Lake, near Mount Olive. Then moving to Sawyerville, Illinois. Then I pretty much stayed right there. And
yeah. So did you graduate from Benilde?
I graduated
Or
from
Staunton?
Gillespie. Yeah,
Gillespie, yeah. That's what it is.
back in 2005.
Right, you playing any music in school?
I did not. I was actually the quietest kid in school. I was actually voted the quietest kid in my class.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
That was me. That means you spend a lot of time
I
plucking on the
observe.
guitar and learning,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
were you playing guitar then?
I was not.
No?
My dad was a musician too.
Okay, here we go.
So like he was my biggest inspiration. So he got to play down in Nashville quite a bit.
Ooh.
And he played with people like worked in studios. So he got to play with people like Willie Nelson. He talked about stories about George Jones.
Oh, wow. He's almighty. Come on.
Yeah, he talked about stories about Kenny Rogers, Merle Haggard,
Dude,
all sorts of stuff. And
What's his name? Robert E?
David Lee.
Oh, David Lee.
Yes.
Okay.
David Lee Roth.
No, no. David Lee Roth did not play with Willie Nelson, as far as I know.
I get
So
these.
you
Are
don't know
related
that
to
for
David
sure.
Lee Murphy? And I'm like, no, that Lee's his last name. It's like,
So-
no.
So that's what he went by,
Yeah.
David Lee.
David Lee. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not gonna dedicate this whole show to your dad, but
Right.
tell me more. Like, did he have a car? No. Is that Brenda Lee? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, so your dad is not just a musician in a local mariachi band.
Right, no,
he's a serious player.
He was. Yeah. He was. He was a big inspiration. But once he moved up from Nashville to Illinois. He started playing less and less because he was like in a bad accident and nearly paralyzed and all that stuff. So he was just played out a little bit less and less, and then started just playing reunions. But I never forgot it, and of course we moved up there after I was born, and then. Once I started getting a lot of stuff from him on the music stuff, and I kind of just started building into it, I started liking more country stuff, and around, I would say 17, I started really getting into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Did he have guitars and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
laying
yeah.
around?
He
So-
could play literally every instrument too.
Oh,
He was one of those
wow.
people
No.
that like he could pick up a violin, a flute.
Yeah.
He could pick up any guitar, anything with strings, any kind of piano, and he'd play it.
So how about you? Just guitar?
Me, I just play guitar. I know how to play the harmonica, a little bit on the piano, but other than that, I do know how to play the violin. That was actually my first one I played.
Really?
That's a
That
tough one.
That one was hard.
I was going to say, you say that so nonchalantly whenever that's one of those instruments that.
Well, the thing is, once I started to learn how to play that, that made the guitar so much easier.
Well, you already have theory. You
Yeah.
already have this
Yes.
the fretboard down a bit because a fretboard is different than a keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
A keyboard is very linear in music theory, where a fretboard's not exactly that way. But the thing that always threw me, because I own a violin, but I can't play it. I try.
Yeah.
I if I put enough rosin on a bow, I can get about 3 notes out, and then you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst part of it.
That is one of those. It's kind of like a Dennis here had a slide trombone at his house. I'm like, awesome. I've always wanted to play horn. There's something something to do with the lips, and I don't know.
Yeah.
There's certain instruments that you think, I'll just pick it up and play it, and I can't.
Yeah.
It's and violin. It burns me that I own that and can't. It sounds like a cat,
Oh, yeah.
So did you learn that in school? You
I
didn't?
know. I actually went to a shop. It was in Staunton that had violin lessons because I really wanted to learn like any kind of instrument, be like my dad and everything.
Yeah.
So I took that one on because I already had a violin. I just got it.
Right.
So I just go ahead and learn it, and then once I learned that, I pretty much just after I learned it, I put it down because you can't really do that and sing at the same time very well. Anyway, it's really, really, really difficult. So I started picking up the guitar, and my dad taught me a few things, and I was like, oh, that's easy. I got that. And then kind of just went along from that.
So real quick, you're from Benel. So let me ask you: do you know where you are?
Huh?
Do you know where you are right now?
Oh, I do. I've heard all sorts of stories about
You're in
Benel.
John Hartford territory. So this, you can't play a violin and sing, has got to stop.
Yeah, no, I didn't say you can't do it. It's very difficult. It's like playing bass and singing. That, to me, is difficult, too.
It is. I just had this conversation with a guy the other day where it's like playing guitar and singing is easier than playing bass and singing. It doesn't seem like it would be. But
yeah.
the first time I tried to play bass and sing, I had so much respect for Kip Winger after that night.
I was thinking of Charlie Daniels. He'll rip on the fiddle and then he'll set it aside while he sings.
Yeah.
Right.
So how about Hartford?
Hartford sings while he plays,
Oh,
man.
my.
He's
I can't believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's John Hartford.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's why we're giving him props right now.
Yeah. So
They
anyway,
named a town after him.
he sings about this town in one of my favorite songs by him, "Long Hot Summer Day." He says gonna get off down in Alton on a long hot summer day. So let me ask you this: what age did you take those violin lessons?
I was around 2021.
Okay, I was just curious if it was right after high school or if it was a little bit later.
after high school.
So you get the violin lessons, and then you find a guitar one day hanging in the shop.
Pretty much. Yep, that's pretty much how it happened too.
Right.
But I'm sure you're banging on instruments even when you're a kid, though, here and there, right?
Well, I mean,
With them laying around, or
yeah. Well, I tried to strum my dad's guitar every once in a while, and I was like, man, I don't know how he does this. And then it's like I just got jumped away from it, and then eventually I started liking more music. And honestly, the first time I ever got into music, like really, really deep into it, and I get a lot of heat for it, but Weird Al. Like, I was a huge Weird Al fan.
You were in the right room to say that.
Yeah, I was a big Weird Al fan.
I claim Weird Al's the best concert I've ever seen in my life.
I can imagine.
It blew my mind. I wasn't expecting it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Hardest working man in show business since James Brown died, for sure.
So I found out that he's had the same band his entire career.
Oh, really?
It's like 4 guys, and they play every one of those songs that he's what do you call it? It's not a cover. It's a
it's
parody.
parody. Yeah, parody.
So that's a lot of different genres of music for that band to cover.
Well, and here's but you explain how the concert goes down, just to give people idea of how much work Weird Al puts into this thing.
So he does all the costumes from the videos. So he'll play a couple of songs, run backstage, change into a costume, do that song. There's little video segues in between to give him some time to change. Because not everything really has a costume, but he did put on like the fat costume and some of the most iconic Weird Al stuff, and then he's got the accordion. He breaks that out and plays it a little bit. So,
but he's constantly. I mean, if you're doing
moving
outfit changes, you are running back there.
Yep. It's quick too. You're not sitting around going, where'd Al go? About the time you think that he's already back.
I did one play in high school, and they gave me 3 parts where I had to change into 3. I was a caveman, an ice cream salesman, and a hippie.
That's a big difference, right?
And I was constantly running. I was constantly just to do to be able to do the outfit changes and get back out on stage or whatever. He's doing more than 3. He's got to do a dozen outfit changes there.
Yeah. So,
but and to think about it, since he's doing parodies of songs and there are different genres, they have their instruments where they can hit those tones. If they're doing bad, they sound just like Eddie Van Halen did with the Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
that's why and they're in the orchestra pit, so they're not actually on stage with him, so he can have that whole stage
to do his thing. Yeah.
And so, but my eyes were focused on there because, like, trying to figure out how did they all of a sudden get this sound? And it's obviously a keyboard. The guy playing keys has got all those sounds programmed, and
but so take the guitar player, right? Okay, in a modern day, you've got like the Helix, you've got these one board with every sound in it, and you can have it programmed, go to that sound, But back then, they had a lot of pedals and a lot. There was a lot going on to create those.
I would love to
sounds.
seen him
the
back
old
in
pedal graveyard.
Yeah, the early days of doing that, how they pulled it off. It made sense when I seen him because it was more recent. But
right.
So what Weird Al thing got you in?
So. Man, I got into it whenever it was The Saga Begins. We did the American Pie parody with the Star Wars thing, and I was kind of a big Star Wars fan back then too. And so that was actually the first time I ever sang in public was that song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
First guest we ever had said that.
I know. As soon as he said this is going to sound weird, big Weird Al, I'm like, dude, that's right on the money here, man. Dude, so you see Weird Al gets you, it sparks something in you or lights you up. What's the next thing? Because to me, if you start there. Like, Donnie and Marie Osmond ain't going to hit you after that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the thing is with Weird Al, he does all these genres.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I kind of went into is like, okay, let me hear some of this stuff and hear the original. And I got into that person's stuff. And then I went to the original of that one. And then I went to this one. And it kind of just jumped around from there. Got into some Michael Jackson. Got into some Don McLean and, like, all sorts of stuff. Like, it just branched out from there. And then, of course, with the country roots with my dad, I kind of really hit hard there. But, I just kind of went from there. Just went all over the place.
So this is the first for us.
Yeah.
And it is, what you just said is resonating heavy with me because I was kind of a punk rock, heavy metal guy, and I saw the Grateful Dead, and there were so many, suddenly I like jazz, suddenly I like reggae, suddenly I like bluegrass, because I'm hearing all of it in their music. I never even conceived the idea of, okay, if Weird Al's your first thing, he's going to take you down every avenue.
Every one.
He's going to take you, and I never even thought about what a great first.
And the parodies also got me into Cletus T. Judd as well.
Okay.
And I heard a bunch of Cletus T. Judd stuff.
Yeah,
and I
that's good
did some
stuff.
parodies of some country songs too. But, I mean, so many venues. So many.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I did not expect this. I did not expect.
He reminded me Ray Stevens being one of my big influences in the early days.
Streak.
Oh, that reminds me. Like, that was one of my things. Like, when I was a kid, my mom would drop me off at my aunt's house. And instead of Disney movies, they put on Ray Stevens videos, like all of his stuff. And we would just sit down and watch that the entire time while they were in the other room playing poker and stuff. So, yeah, it was a great time. I know quite a bit of Ray Stevens, too. I'll throw in the Mississippi Revival every once in a while at my shows. So, Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I was like him, too. I was all over the place with that kind of stuff. And then locked in high school, I thought it was cool because of Van Halen to be doing the metal stuff.
Yeah.
And then, got in a metal band. But really was like outside of it going, I still listen to the Beach Boys. I still listen to like all this other stuff. So metal was kind of the new thing.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
That was an awesome moment there, just to hit me with a Weird Al, man. That was awesome. So you know, your dad's into all the country, all of this. You got that influence coming. You got the Weird Al taking you every which way. Because you just said something a few minutes ago that there was a bachelorette party and they made you play what, Pink Pony?
It was Pink Pony Club.
Okay, so as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, this is one of those guys who just, he's a human jukebox. He can play.
I've been told that a lot.
Yeah, he could play anything. And I don't know why. I guess what I saw, I looked you up in the country music. I started there, so I kind of had you pinned as a country type artist. But really, you're just.
I'm 70%. I would say 70% country. But then the rest of it is everything else. Like it's a lot.
So your country's kind of where your roots are, but yet if you're out playing a club and you see the crowd and you read that crowd and go, ho, 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 ho.
Oh, they want some 90s alternative stuff. Okay, I got you. Max Box 20, Hootie and the Blowfish, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was mentioning quite a few 90s bands when I was talking to him earlier, and it makes sense. He's about that age. So
I was
there
raised
you
in
go.
the 90s. So.
Yeah.
I was part of a band called maybe later, way back. We were out of Carlinville, Illinois, and we played in all sorts of places. We played the Alton Block Party every once in a while, and that was an amazing time. I loved the Alton Block Party, but we played like almost nothing but 90s alternative stuff into like new rock and roll stuff, completely different than the rock stuff. So that got me a lot more into 90s alternative stuff as well. So I mean, it was.
Yeah, so you were talking when you decided to get a guitar, was it an electric or an acoustic?
Acoustic.
Okay.
Then I kind of drove into electric. Now I'm back in acoustic.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I kind of envisioned, but I wanted to hear the official word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, once you strap on an electric guitar and start doing some of that stuff, you know, that you do with an electric guitar.
But it's so much funner if you have pedals.
Yes,
Like, I didn't have
exactly.
pedals, so, like, if I had that little thing I could plug into to make all the sounds.
Way more
Oh, yeah.
expensive than an acoustic. I mean, you know, all you need is your guitar then, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to buy a Martin or a Taylor, then it might be.
Well, that's true. That's true. But, I mean, you got to invest in an amplifier and then pedals and then picks and
And
Well.
you are correct. Like my amp costs more than my guitar.
right?
My pedal board more than both of them.
Yeah.
Probably, and it's just because you like toys.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
and here's something that they know they got you. They know you'll pay for. So it's all expensive. But if you're dealing with old school pedals and stuff, you don't know for sure what you want. So you have to keep buying things and trying them out. So then you
Yeah.
end up with a shelf full of all this stuff that you're like, well, if I sell it, I could get $25, but why not just keep it for the one time I want that sound?
Yep.
You know, and you just end up with a shelf full of stuff for your wife to yell at you about. Anyway, so 21, you start into the fiddle. You get it, a little down the road. You get your guitar. When did you start playing out, and how did that come about? Did you have a band already? Or?
No, I didn't have a band at the moment. I would say I actually started playing with that maybe later band probably around 22. Actually, I remember very specifically the first time I ever got drunk. 22. Because 22 is when I really started playing out. I didn't play solo until after, maybe later. I'm sorry. So 22, and I can tell you the story about the first time I got drunk.
Yeah,
that
let's
was a
hear
great
it.
time.
Let's hear it.
Well, you know, they
I was-
probably gave you free beer, so.
Oh, well, here's the thing. We were like a block away from the square, and we were practicing at our house, and they found out, hey, dude, it's your birthday. I was like, well, yeah, it is. What are you doing? I was like, not this is what I'm doing. He's like, dude, you need to go get drunk. I was like, oh, I've never been drunk. They were like, wait a minute. You never been? All right, let's go to the square. So we go to the square. They buy me a they were like, what do you want? I was like, I'll take a Jaeger bomb. They were, all right, 2 Jaeger bombs.
Woo.
I was like, they were like, oh, you doing one with me? He said, no, you're doing them both, dude. I was like, okay. So I did 2 Jaeger bombs, had Bud Light back then. That's all I drank. And then we went to the next bar. Did the exact same thing about 5 bars in. So I was like 10 Jaeger bombs in, 5 beers in.
Woo.
And they were like, dude, you feeling it? I was like, dude, honestly, not really.
Uh-oh.
I was not feeling it. Yeah, I was like, I'm just getting a buzz. Maybe. He's like, all right, I'll go back to the house. We'll go back. And then we start practicing a little bit more. And then the drummer stops and says, hold it. He goes in, grabs this old bottle of champagne. Here, chug
Oh.
it. I was like, sure, nothing else would work. I don't remember anything after that
Yeah.
other than they told me
The
I
bubbles.
kept trying to sing Journey all night. And I ended up waking up in the bathtub, and my iPhone was in the toilet. Don't know where one of the socks went. It was a great time.
Great
They
story.
told me I was trying to sing Journey.
Yeah, something about them bubbles, man.
Well, what the drummer didn't tell him is that he put a little GHB in that.
I don't know.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
so
that's
But then
great.
shortly after I was with that band, and we ended up breaking up because one of the guys moved to Minnesota, one of the guys moved to Texas, and that we couldn't find anybody else to really vibe with as much as we did with the other guys. So we ended up breaking up, and then I was like bored. So then I started picking up a guitar myself because before that I was just a singer.
okay.
Before that I was just a singer because I didn't know how to play the guitar and sing. So I started picking up a guitar and practice singing and all that. And there was this bar called Capone's right down the road from me in Beneld.
Wonder why that is.
Yeah.
All right, we ain't got time for the history, but
Probably
no,
tunnels.
we all know.
But I played there for free for about a year because I knew the owner, and I was like, "Hey, can I play here? On Saturday nights?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure. I'm not paying you, but yeah, okay, whatever." Also, I started playing, and instead, because I wanted to hear what the crowd listened to, I told them instead of tips, throw in suggestions. I'll be back next week. I'll learn it and I'll have it played.
Yeah.
And so they started throwing in suggestions, and about a year later, I had a book of stuff. I literally started bringing a book called The Musical Menu, and I had it laminated and all separated and stuff, and they could pick whatever they want out of that, and I'll play it. And bar was getting pretty good. I was like, "Hey, you got to start paying me." And he's like, "No, okay, I'm going somewhere else then." And so I started playing out, and now I'm playing like 120 shows a year. So
Wow.
I mean, it's been crazy. It's been a wild ride.
You know what though? What you did there to say, "Hey, I'll play every Saturday for free," especially like in Beneld. It's not like you're having to drive real far or locking up a lot of money into this thing. It's right down the road. But bands that do a residency like that, where once a week you're out there playing at least, it gets you good quick, because you're not just playing in the garage once a week. You're out there in front of people, and I've seen a lot of bands that do that, tighten up, and you probably really threw yourself ahead years by doing that, to where you were able to just go out and go, okay, well, who's going to pay now?
Yeah. Yep.
So there you go. That is the tales of what led to the first gigs of Mr. Kerry Lee, who is our guest. Kerry Lee, originally from Granite City for 3 years, and then up to Beneld, Capone country. And
We don't have a Mark Quinn video. We need to have him back, because the original show, remember, we talked a lot about Beneld and tunnels
with
and
Mark Quinn. Yeah. So
we got off the El Monstero, and that's where we went.
And we've had a couple musicians on from that area. Mark Quinn, of course, from that area, and then Ryan from Jake's Leg up from that area. I mean, anyway, speaking of areas, what's going on around this area?
In our area, we have Irish music down at Morrison's Irish Pub all weekend long. I don't always mention that, but we very seldom know exactly who's going to be playing there, but they do it every night during the weekend. And also going on, sometimes it's foggy and sometimes it's clear. That is Safasic.
Safasic.
Yeah, you got to say and. They're playing at the conservatory. So Josh Grassley and his friends, that version,
Nice.
9 o'clock at the conservatory on a Friday night. Of course, we got the live drag going on at Bubby and Sissy's all weekend long. Anthony Nanny, 1:30, and then Jake Houlihan Band, 7 o'clock at Fast Eddie's on Friday. The Soulshine Groove doing the VFW in Alton from 7 to 11. And Steve Ewing, he's coming to town. We'll be out at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey. Steve Ewing of The Urge with his Steve Ewing Duo, 7 to 11 at Baker's and Hale. Harvest Duo out at Locke's Brick House in Bethalto. They'll be doing live music there every Friday through November. We got Matt Heaton at the backstage at the lake at Holiday Shores in Edwardsville, 7 to 11. just starting to come across that venue, Pigpen. And my shirt, I'm wearing my shirt because Flip the Frog, got my Flip the Frog shirt, playing 9 o'clock at Backstage Bar and Patio in Edwardsville, right there behind the Wild E. Around the corner, it's Scott Marlin from 6 to 9, which one is it? Big Daddy's, right? And here's one I haven't seen. Belle Vagrant doing the happy hour at the Stagger Inn in Edwardsville. Thursday's Hazy at the Chop House in Edwardsville from 6 to 9. Lanny and Julie at the Moose in Edwardsville. Joe Bassa, 7 to 10 at the Barrel and Brew in Edwardsville. Double Tap out at the Cabin at Judy Creek and Glen Carbon from 7 to 11. And down at the Mill in Granite City, we got comedy. Lost Comedy Tour with Tim Loss, Sophie O'Rourke, Luis Arellano,
Yeah.
Nathan Foltz, and Travis Felton. That's a 2015 ticket, 8 o'clock at the Mill in Granite City. Also down at Jacob Myers in Granite City on Friday night, Kim Katina, Drew Lance, and Ryan Kemp at Jacob Myers, 7 o'clock. Down there, Andrew Dahl doing George's Pub and Grill on Friday night from 6 to 9. And down at the Long Shots at Fairmont Park, our old buddy, Colt Ball, and the Get Down, 7 o'clock. Fleetwood family going to be up the Rustic in Warden. And Friday night's the big night, the 4 and 20 tribute to Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. It's at the St. Charles Arena, and our friends, the band called Field, they're in the Little Rock, Arkansas on Friday night.
I tell you, Field has been just moving and shaking all year. They are all over the map, playing with opening for some really nice acts. However, that 4 and 20, do we still have tickets left sitting out front for that?
We got rid of all our tickets.
Oh, nice.
They had some at several different locations. Last I heard, Red's Auto had a few left, but they're going quick. I mean, it's tomorrow night.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
But I bet there's still some floating out there.
Yeah,
And man, what a great show that is. What a great bunch
Red's
of guys.
Auto
there.
being Smash's sponsor. I passed that on to him. So I heard him last night talking that there was some tickets there.
Shout out to Big E, Eric out there at Red's Auto, who always takes care of us nicely. Fine gentleman out there.
For sure.
Well, nice, man. That is a nice Friday evening in our area.
Well, that's just Friday. We haven't even talked about Saturday yet.
We're getting warmed up here.
Let's do some Saturdays.
So real quick before you jump into Saturday, our guest Kerry Lee, I want to say this to him real quick.
He's coming on strong.
So he's coming on strong. So we've told a lot of people, look, that Bash Dennis here puts together this list every week, and it goes from about Granite City to where, I don't know.
We kind of went over that, me and him.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
It is a great, like several of these places I kept thinking you could play there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The cabin at Judy Creek, you could play.
Yeah,
there.
I kind of want to. Yeah,
Right.
I've talked to him a little bit.
Anyway, so let's hear what I wanted him to have that in his head so he could be thinking about it and go, oh, I'm gonna play there next. I'm gonna play there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, right here in Alton, there's quite a few places like Shea, Maryland. They've been doing shows down there since it's been rebought and back in action. And
I know that Cad Daddy's has just been, I think they got rebought too.
They did.
'Cause, I'm talking with a guy right now. Apparently, I'm going to be at Cad Daddy's quite a bit. But,
okay.
Nice.
And he's also just bought the Bloody Bucket too.
Okay,
really?
yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah,
So,
I did hear that.
I'm going to be bouncing back and forth quite a bit from there.
I didn't realize they just bought the.
Yeah, I did hear that.
There you go.
So, you're going to see some crossover action going between those two bars. And let's see, where was I at? Oh, yeah, Sievers and Huber playing at Shea, Maryland, 7 to 9 on Saturday. And we got Miss Bubby's review show. And what that is, Pigpen, is they're bringing back some of the how would you put it? The previous drag queens from the past.
Okay.
So it's
All
a
right.
review.
All right. Bringing back some past winners.
Right. Well, I don't know if there's a winner. I think it's more just like different folks that aren't normally there that may have been not doing so many shows lately, but some.
Let me tell you something.
Shelby Wright takes care of all of it. So
let me tell you something that I learned from the great poet and prophet Kenny Rogers himself.
Okay.
When you're a drag queen, you're always a winner.
That's
I
right.
don't know if that's. I don't know if Kenny actually said that, but he thought it. I'm sure.
Anthony Nanny back at the Fast Eddie's in Alton 1:30 on Saturday, and then Twisted Rose 7 o'clock. at Fast Eddie's. How about this name here? Rollin' Dirty. You ever do that, Pigpen? Your name's Pigpen, so obviously you don't shower.
With a name like Pigpen, I'm always rolling dirty.
That's right. 7 o'clock at the Alton Moose on Saturday. And
Rolling dirty.
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
We like band names.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's better than Poor Dirty Ass or not, but it's dirty.
Well, here's the thing: you don't want to put that name on the side of your band vehicle.
No.
as a target.
Doppelganger out at Bakers and Hale on Saturday from 7 to 11. Dave Mendoza at the Pump House, 9 o'clock. In Wood River, Blues and Grass at Chico's from 7 to 11 in Wood River. And Cree Ryder up at George's Pub and Grill in Jerseyville on Saturday. We got Sonic Tonic at the Hog Pit from 1:30 to 5:30. Scott Logan Duo, 3 to 7 at Grafton Winery Brewhouse, Patuck. 3 to 7 at Grafton Pub. Jonathan Baker, 1 to 5 at Terrace at Aries in Grafton. And Grafton, one of your stomping grounds there.
Oh,
Kerry
yeah.
Lee. Yeah, Bloody Bucket mainly.
I might be an hour away, but that's like my vacation. That's why I wear the Hawaiian shirts all the time.
Yeah, third
Anytime
shoot.
I'm up on stage, that's why it's my vacation.
You ever
So,
played
yeah.
a Hog Pit?
I've played at Hog Pit one time,
Okay.
but usually a third shoot is my
Nice.
big one there.
Yeah.
And then Bloody Bucket.
Right.
That new one, Coastal Cuisine, I'm going to try to hit that quite a bit next year, too.
And I seen Drifters was doing
I was
some
going to say Drifters has
little
started
extra.
having some music
Yeah.
out there too, and
Nice patio they got now.
Drifters.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, that patio, that's kind of my favorite place in Grafton to sit because it's this quiet end of. It's right where the river split off, and
Yeah.
and you don't really see. It's kind of the most natural view of the river from Grafton, where you don't see the marina, you don't see all that. Not that I'm against all it, I mean, I like all of it.
Oh, yeah.
But that is the quietest, most peaceful sort of like river. But yeah,
We
glad-
gave Grafton high praise once again last weekend because, man, what a resilient place and what an amazing music scene that's just right here where you can go to one place and just skip
one of my
around all day
favorites.
long. Yeah.
It really is my favorite because, like, it's Grafton is all about the music. I mean, that's where I go there so much. People, because I played like 20-something shows this year just in Grafton alone.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's where we read his name quite a bit.
Right.
So, Edwardsville on Saturday. What we got going on there? Well, one of our favorite names of all time, the scruffy-looking Nerve Herder.
Yes.
There's your Star Wars reference.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know Bill?
No, I don't know him, but I love the name.
Yeah. He's
my Nerve
doing backstage at the lake at Holiday Shores, which, like I said, I'm starting to see some shows pop up there. Either they're advertising more or, something new going on there.
Yeah, they just built that place not too long ago.
Is that what's going on?
Well, it used to be Wigglers, the old
Oh,
place
okay.
where
And
Wigglers
before
used
that,
to
it was
be.
Hookers.
The place before Wigglers moved to Hookers.
So Wigglers moved over like one building,
Okay.
and then that building was vacant. And then
Okay.
backstage at the patio, backstage was over at Edwardsville, so they bought this one. So now they're backstage at the lake.
I wonder if there was a
Yeah.
connection there.
Yeah.
Here you go, Kerry Lee with a breaking news report here on Riverbend Talent.
So now we know Wigglers moved down one. Backstage is where Wigglers used to be. Whatever happened to Hookers?
Hooker's Pizza is what it was, and that's
I
what.
don't like pizza.
Yeah, I know. Hey, how about the Trophy Mules?
Yeah.
They're playing
absolutely.
this weekend, Saturday night.
Yeah, no, we had
Corey
Jared.
was a fun guest,
Yeah, we had one of them on last week with us, Jared Gordon.
yeah, Jared.
Yeah.
part-time.
A part-time trophy mule.
Right, according to our reporter, Owen Weber.
Yeah, he's more trophy than mule.
Right. Anyways, they're doing Sam's Last Chance Saloon. That's the Old Corners Tavern in Edwardsville, across the street towards us from the Wild E. And then the Hillbenders and the Mound City Slickers playing at the Wild E Theater, 7:30 on a Saturday night. And backstage bar and patio there in Edwardsville, White Collar Recession, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. What a great group of names there.
Yeah, I like all of those names.
All
that
in
you
the
just
same
said.
block.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so Schaefer's and Sims is around the corner at Big Daddy's, and next door, that's 6 to 9. Next door, earlier in the day, Lanny and Julie, 2 to 5 at the Foundry Public House in Edwardsville. And then from Memphis, Tennessee, the Everdeens and Victims of Doug from 6 to 9 at the Stack in Edwardsville.
Victims of Doug. Okay, there's another good one.
And we got wrestling this weekend in Edwardsville.
I love
The
it.
Cottage Hills Wrestling Alliance.
Nice.
Doing their normal once-a-monther at the Legion in Edwardsville, where the Green Bastard, a.k.a. Bubbles, they show up.
I don't think he's going to show up.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's just part of Saturday because we still got Whiskey Revival at the Cabin at Judy Creek in Glen Carmen, the Waffle House Fight Club playing at Jacob Myers, and Greg Seitz Trio down at the Fairmont Park. How about Captain Bulkhead and the Portholes? That's obviously Yacht Rock. And they're playing the Old Miners Theater down in Collinsville from 7 until 10. And Joe Bassa at Mississippi Culture. Merge 5.
Oh, yeah.
Going to do a show this weekend at Tucker's Pub in Eldred
Nice.
at 8 o'clock on a Saturday because they're in school all week.
Right.
Like high school, right?
Yeah. Well, I think when we had them on the radio, some of their parents had to drive them here because they didn't have
That's true.
license yet. Yeah.
So, Kerry Lee,
Yeah.
you mentioned a couple of shows you got this weekend. What
Yeah.
what do you got going on in the future?
So, well, I got a one of my favorite places to play is Wine for the Win in Troy, Illinois. I'm there for Black Friday, or not Black Friday, Blackout Wednesday, and that place is always like every time I play there. Ever since they've started up, I've been playing there.
That's
pretty
the
much.
day before Thanksgiving, right?
Oh yeah, that's going to be a party.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
time that show, I always book quite a bit in advance. And
Yeah.
I get a lot of people asking me to play Blackout Fridays. All right, that's already booked. Or Blackout Wednesday. Keep saying Friday.
No. I totally
But,
understand. Yeah, we've said for a long, long time New Year's Eve is amateur night. The real partiers are out Thanksgiving Eve.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be playing there that day on 7-Eleven, but yeah, you know that's going to be going further than that.
Yeah.
That place goes quite a bit. I just usually tell people I'm there 7 o'clock. I don't know when I'm going to be out. I'll be out when they kick me out. It's all good.
So that's Troy, yeah. Troy, I think that's still Madison County, if I remember right.
I'm not sure. I think that might be just over the border. But
Is
I'm
it?
not, yeah, I'm not
Pretty
sure.
close. Pretty
Yeah.
close. Because Highland's Madison County, so you know, maybe Mississippi Valley Conference at least. Used to be. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Let me text my wife. She'll tell
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So what else? Anything down the line?
Like, man, December I have like dropped the ball on, so I
Okay.
really only think I have like one show, and that's at Mandy's, and I cannot remember for the life of me on the date of that one.
Where are you looking at?
Mandy's
You got
and
a
O'Fallon.
website there you're looking at, or
Yeah,
you got?
I can look it up, but it's
Are
gonna
you
take
on?
me a minute.
Where would we go to find? Your
Usually Facebook
Facebook?
at Kerry Lee Acoustic Music, or just Kerry Lee itself, because honestly, I don't do too much on the acoustic page.
Oh.
Every time I say, yeah, you should like me on Facebook, Kerry Lee Acoustic, they'll put Kerry Lee in and then just click on Kerry Lee.
Okay.
So it works. It's all good.
It seems like there'd be
everything
a
I post on my Facebook goes to that anyway. So, December 20th, that's when I'll be at Mandy's Bar in O'Fallon. That's going to be 7 to 11. That one I just recently acquired, and it was awesome time. There was like 3 birthday parties there at the same time. They had the best Halloween bar I've ever seen because they just like completely decked it out in Halloween stuff. So it was a really cool time. So I'll be trying to veer into O'Fallon quite a bit. But there's a lot of different cities that I've been trying to veer into. Like Alton is one of them. St. Charles is going to be another one, hopefully. Yeah, I'm trying to veer out even further than what I'm already doing.
Well, now you know about cottonmouth.org. You know
Yeah,
where to
yeah,
go.
Oh, yeah, I'll be checking it out.
Yeah, so you got a whole list of stuff right there, and
Oh, yeah.
that's what we built it for. Guys like you looking for places to play.
Oh, yeah.
You'll know where they're at now, and unfortunately, we don't book gigs there, so we don't know who to talk to yet.
Yeah.
But if we do find that kind of thing out, we like to post that as well on our site. So if you go down even further where the list of venues are, you might find some of that type of information. But it's ever changing, as you probably found out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
Always
how do
changing.
you, for the youngins out there that want to book as many shows as you have, how do you find out who books the shows? What's your process there?
The way I do it, so since I'm like a solo acoustic guy, I find another solo acoustic guy and kind of follow him and see where he's playing, and then like, okay, they do acoustic music. Okay, I'll have that list. One of my favorite ones is Danny Callagher.
Oh yeah,
And he plays like his schedule hurts my throat looking at it.
Yeah.
Like he'll play like 28 shows a month, and like I'll look at his stuff a lot and then see where he's playing. Be like, okay, I need to call these places, call these places. I usually message on Facebook. If I can't message them on Facebook, I'll give them a call. But yeah, that's a very time consuming, but it's worth it. But like I said, playing music's my therapy, so it's well worth it. But to just book shows, I just try to keep in contact. I'll send mass texts out on Facebook, and just like, oh, I might send out 40 messages. I'll get 2 messages back, and I'm cool with that.
yep.
And then, but once I play in a place, then they'll want me to come back more and more. Not tooting my own horn, but I am kind of. But
how you do it.
anytime I play at one place, they'll be like, okay, hey, when's the next time you're open? When's the next time you're open? And I kind of veer off of it that way. But I know I play like 120 shows for the last 4 years every year. But I'm going to try to book even more next year. I'm trying to get up to about 150, but we'll see how that goes.
I think you got the right place to look now.
Oh, yeah.
That
for
list
sure.
was pretty intense, and
Because I also work 40-hour a week at my other job, too.
Well, now we're getting down to the brass tacks. We talk to people every week about this. You know, just because you see these guys out playing all the time doesn't mean they're not holding down an everyday job on top of that as well. And what is your everyday job?
I work at Halpin in Litchfield. I just pretty much, we make truss plates with press operations and stuff like that. I'm
Okay.
a forklift driver.
Okay.
Steel fabrication type stuff?
Kind of, somewhat. It's just basically the steel goes into the press comes down and then just shoots out plates of steel stuff.
Okay.
And they just make pretty much, and hate to say it, anytime there's a huge hurricane, that's good business for us because we make houses.
Sure, man. Sure.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. And the reason we bring that up also is that anytime somebody needs to raise money for a charity or a person or that type of thing, guess what? These musicians we talk to every week volunteer their time because they can, because they work day jobs.
Right.
And raise more money than they make the entire year, sometimes at one gig that's a charity event. So, and that feels better than getting paid most of the time.
Hear that?
I'll say, hey, you know, it's always nice to help somebody who's needs a helping hand, because I know I've been the person who needs a helping hand many times. So, well, there you go. Hey, our guest this Thursday evening has been Mr. Kerry Lee. We literally met just as we started the show.
Yep.
It has been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been
Very,
fun,
very.
for sure.
I'll be honest. On the drive in, because we don't know each other.
Right.
We've messaged on Facebook. This is the first time we've even talked. I don't even have your phone number or anything, right? and so we've never talked. And so on the drive down, I'm going, okay, what do I know? He's a country guy. He plays a lot of gigs. Hopefully he's just a cool guy. This will be, you know, as long as you're. And right off, like I had no idea we'd sit and talk about Weird Al for
That's
20
right.
minutes. I mean, this went in some great directions. This was a lot of fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
And make sure Pigpen gets your number, because we will have you back in the future.
Oh, yeah.
So that, you know, especially if it's surrounding some good event that's coming up, like the Country Music Festival,
Yep,
you know, something like that.
I played that every year so far.
And something tells me we're going to start seeing his name closer to home
Yeah, we do.
now that he knows about the list. And, hey, if you want to shoot us an email or anything like that and send me some information that might be good for my page, I would love that, because you're
absolutely.
helping everybody in this area keep the music going, just like our sponsors, Halpin Music Company, does for almost 10 years now with this show. They've made sure that's happened, and I don't know how much money we probably raised through these charity events that have been going on that entire 10 years, but it's a lot. It always is. It's amazing what we see happen with local music and art, and it also draws people to the community, because if you come to Alton and you find there's a music scene, you're like, I should live near Alton, maybe right in Alton, or maybe right in Grafton.
Yeah.
So that's why music matters. Okay, for the folks who aren't into it, which I don't understand, but hey. Could be.
To each his own.
Right? I had a guy tell me one time, I use your website to find out where I can have a quiet dinner, because
I'm not going to any of these places. I'm not going. Hey, whatever works, man. Well, again, thanks, Mr. Kerry Lee, for coming in. And best of luck to you in the future. Everybody out there, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next Thursday when our guest will be the Birds of Squalor.
Okay.
And
I think they're doing a charity event coming up at the conservatory, if I am not mistaken.
I believe that's what we're going to talk about.
That is be highlighted in white.
That's what you told me last week, and I looked for it. And
I do that just for Pigpen.
Yeah.
When I find one that looks juicy,
I can scroll and go, there's a white one.
There's a white one.
There's one that's sticking out. Anyway, big thanks to our sponsors, obviously, Halpin Music Company and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias and German Insurance. Been keeping us going for 10 years. Thanks so much for that. Thanks again to Kerry Lee for coming in. Again, where do people find you, Kerry Lee, on Facebook?
Kerry Lee Acoustic Music, or just Kerry Lee itself on Facebook.
Kerry?
Yep,
Kerry.
And how do we know we got the right Kerry Lee?
Honestly, you'll just see my face. I mean, my face is hard to not recognize. Well, I'll always be wearing a beard. I'll always be wearing the glasses, usually, and I'll always have a cowboy hat on. So that's pretty easy to find.
And now he plays in this area, obviously, from Bunnell to Troy to Pawnee.
So, pretty much mid-Illinois, east and South Illinois, and eastern Missouri. Pretty much that's the region.
So if you see that Kerry Lee, you got the right one, baby.
There you go. So that, again, our guest.
Coming on strong.
Again, our guest, Kerry Lee, who was son of David Lee,
That's
possibly Roth.
No.
Who was the...
He's way better than Dave. I'd love to see David Lee Roth and him, go at it and
I'm just going to tell you.
Heads.
I'm just going to tell you.
Dave would have to tap out.
I'm going to tell you history the way that I make it up as it goes along. This is Kerry Lee, son of David Lee Roth, who is the nephew of Bruce Lee.
We didn't ask him if he was related to Bruce, did we?
So I wanted to, but I was afraid. I was afraid if I asked him, he was going to shot me right in the throat. I know.
No, but in case you're wondering who David Lee is, his father, like he told us at the beginning of the show, which will be out on the video.
Yeah.
You might want to go back and check that out, because he's played with all kinds of famous people. Willie Nelson. We love Willie. Dude, you just seen him.
Yeah, I did just see him, and at 92 years old, he's still amazing.
Oh yeah,
just incredible. So, well, hey, thanks again to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Mr. Dennis over there, and everybody. Whatever you're going to do this weekend, make sure you get out and support local music and art.